am Gwen Reed. I am a graduate of the Bahamas Institute of Bankers, which was established in 1974. I graduated, I think, in 1982. And then it has been a great help to me in my profession because I was originally a secretary, and after that I outgrew the secretarial profession, so to speak, and I went to work with my first company that I worked with was our Trust Company. And after that, it was very important if you wanted to move forward in the trust field to be qualified. So first we started to take courses from the Institute of Bankers in London. I passed one or two of their exams, and then actually my first certificate was from the Bahamas Institute of Bankers. And then after that, we went on to evening courses, evening studies, which was, they had several experienced people teaching us at the time. It started at the college, the institute, the Bahamas Institute Training College in Oaksfield, I think it was at the time. And we had a good many graduates, and we went on to, I think the first trust company I worked to was CIBC Trust.
Wow.
Yes, I was their first employee actually. And after I was there, I went on, I stayed there for about 17 years, which I thoroughly enjoyed, CIBC Trust. It is there where I got to know about the trust industry. And from there I went on and I spent a few years in Ottawa, and I learned about the private banking. I worked about private banking there. And I came back to Nassau and started at Scotia Trust. And I was there for about 17 years. I think I spent my best working days at Scotia Trust because I knew something about the trust when I went there. And I think I had a little more to offer. Oh, I think it had a great impact on all of us because it exposed us to what we could learn and how we could take exams and pass them and, be qualified to go into and get positions in the trust field and in banking. Actually, when I went to, as I said earlier, I think my best days were at Scotia Trust because I had more experience, right? Mm-hmm. I will always remember CIBC Trust because I was the first employee, and that's where I learned really all about trust. We started together, Frank Flanagan. He's dead now.
Yes.
But he and I started CIBC Trust together. Yes, I think it was what year was that? I'm not too sure. At the moment, was it around the 70s? But we started that, and it was really very interesting to see the company grow from one or two clients to it was a big organization when I left, with many employees. Yes, some things we have improved a lot. But sometimes I wondered though if the employees of today are as good with their clients as we were in those days. Because I remember when I was at CIBC Trust, can you imagine a client came in on Christmas Eve when the offices were closed, mm-hmm. and I had to stay there that whole day just to accommodate that client, So clients were most important to us, we more or less jumped when they asked us to do something. Yeah. I'm not sure that today they are quite that way, Yeah. I mean, you may find some of them are, but I don't think they cherish the clients the way we use. Very important. You never wanted a client to complain. You never wanted to get a complaint from a client at all. No. And I think we have lost a little of that,
unfortunately.
Yeah. So I would say that some of us, not all, some of them are still quite good, but I think we could pay a little more attention to how we treat the customers.
Good evening. My name is Arthur Chase. I'm a former employee of Bahamas International Trust, which is known as BITCO, and then the name changed to Ansbach Bahamas Limited. I joined the program for the Institute of Bankers, I think almost at the inception of when the program was launched, because originally we were studying the rapid results and it's all correspondence, and you had to pass certain subjects at one time. And when the program came on, Bahamas Institute of Bankers, I joined the program then. The study center was at the C.R. Walker Technical at Fire Trail Road. And from there, the program moved and was intertwined with the College of Bahamas. And so we did subjects that were related to banking through the College of Bahamas. I remember that when I was doing in my final leg of the program, I was seconded to the UK for a year, and I had to do my last two final exams. I think it was economics and one other subject I don't remember, at the Barclays Trust Company, situated at Jackson House just before St. Paul's Cathedral. And so I had one day of exams from 9, I think we went on to 5 o'clock. And the curious thing about it was that usually you were able to take your question papers with you, and so you can have an idea whether or not you want the right track. But they told me I couldn't take my papers because of the time frame, because I could always send the papers to Nassau and prompt someone else to do the exam, because I had a 5-hour head start on everybody. And when I got the results, I understood that I was the only person who got the diploma that year in 1997. It helped very much in my progress in ITCO, because I was then transferred out of banking into the trust department. And then we had the independence looming overhead in 1973. And we had so many expats who worked at the company at that time. And so they threw me into the deep end of managing, I think it was 180 trusts and companies combined. And so I had to learn fast. And after I completed the program, I did the part 2 of the London Institute of Bankers program, specifically dealing with the trust aspect of banking. The program was very useful to me in those early days. And then, of course, at one point I was a member of the council, the student council, the council to the board of the institute. And then I became one of the lecturers when the institute was centered in Star Plaza. And I think I'll have to rely on Ms. Bodie and those to confirm that I did a lecture for about 20 to 25 years. I won't tell you what they did with me after that period, but it was one of the things that I enjoyed. And I met so many students who came from different disciplines in the country. Not all of them were bankers. There were people from the insurance company, some I remember from Super Value Food Store, and all over the place. Some people were just interested in trying to get in to the banking aspect, especially trust. And I believe that my service to the Institute was a part of what I should have done as giving back to the community. They paid a small stipend, but it didn't matter. I was just making a contribution. And I worked along with Leona Mitchell, who was really the architect behind the trust program, and it worked very well. And the part of the program that I enjoyed most was that although I had my sections to do, at the end of the study period, we had to do a review of the entire syllabus. And that was where my work came in. They always allotted me that part of the program. And so I crossed with a whole lot of people who were then in the industry. And now, you know, the industry has changed over the years. When we did accounts, we had limited information on clients. We didn't have the KYC, and so they have that now, and a lot of people are perhaps not complying. But I think you need that to ensure that business coming into the country through the banking sector really would be legitimate business. And I don't think, and if you follow the history of the banking in the Bahamas, you'll find that very rarely we had any scams and so on, and because of the due diligence that we had to do. I am asked questions from time to time about the industry, and to tell you the truth, I haven't been keeping abreast, but I always try to understand what is going on. And I guess it is helpful to me too, because my daughter is now working in the industry with accountants as a tax advisor and so on, and she fields questions to me. I have another daughter who's an attorney, and when they get stuck on their banking affair, they refer to me, you know, they ask you a question, what do you think about so and so? And that means, this is something I don't know, maybe you can help me. And so the Institute got good recommendations. It was recognized by London, because once you completed the program here, you went to England and did the rest of the program, banking in one specific section, and then you had trust in the other. And I am grateful really for the exposure I have. I didn't change jobs that often, and so I was stable. Coming to the Institute, giving up my time, and I think it's only really a payback because a lot of people gave up time when I was a student. And I remember in particular Howell Jones, who was one of the persons who was pushing and lecturing in the second half of the London Institute of Bankers, along with John Delaney and some of the others. So that's my experience with the Institute, and I hope that the Institute, on its 50th year, will again be the focus and the engine behind the Financial Institute, They've changed now their name to Bahamas Financial Institute Services. Of course, I'm very proud to be a fellow of the institute.
My name is Kendrick Mins. I am employed with a local cooperative movement. And back in 2020, I made a decision to pivot in my life. And that was to go back to school. Now, the school in question is the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services. Dynamic, small, and very effective. The impact of the institution, the best way I could describe it is what Albert Einstein says about education. Education is not what you retain in the halls. It's what you take with you on the outside. And for Bahamas Institute of Financial Services, it stretched me. I'm gonna give a shout out to one of our lecturers in the person of Ms. Archer. Literally will stretch you, banking law. So with my first class being with her, it actually exposed me to every possible level of stretching. And what it did is that it basically prepared me for my remaining classes.
Thank you very much.
My name is Paul McQueenie. I'm a former president of what was then the Bankers Institute of the Bahamas. I was president from 2002 to 2007. I think I was the longest serving president. My journey to the Institute really started as a vice president of the Bahamas Bankers Association, which was an association that was geared specifically towards professional development within the banking community. At that time, our president was Betty Rollins, and we determined that it may be more appropriate to align ourselves or merge with the Bahamas Institute of Bankers. And so we worked on that, and in the ensuing 18 months, we were able to accomplish that. I stayed on as the vice president of the Bankers Institute, and then assumed the post of president, so as to make the Institute more inclusive of the entire industry. We changed the name to the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services. During my term also, there was a significant accomplishment in the sense that we aligned ourselves with the Chartered Institute of Bankers, which allowed many of our courses to become internationally accredited. And I think that was a significant achievement to elevate the institution to global recognition. Thereby providing professional development and tertiary classes amongst the industry, trust services, insurance services, anything to do with the financial service industry. We then expanded the offering to include those initiatives. During that process, we also aligned ourselves with several outside institutes to make ourselves a lot more, the certificates accredited internationally as well too. And so, we got a lot of work accomplished. We were able to expand the membership to include many of the offshore banks. We still have some more work. I think at this point, they still have more work to do to expand the membership to include perhaps some of the insurance entities. But it really was a wonderful time, a good experience for everybody. I met a lot of new players within the industry, and I'm happy to have contributed to the success of a wonderful institute that provides a very high level of education and support to the financial services industry.
My name is Tamara Evans, and I am the manager of settlements at Colina Financial Advisors Limited. I had the privilege of participating in 2 programs through the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services, the Certified International Financial Planner Program in 2010, and the Certified International Risk Manager Program in 2024. The education I received through BIFIS has been invaluable in my career progression. The Certified International Financial Planner Program gave me a comprehensive understanding of global financial planning, which significantly improved my ability to advise a cross-section of clients and manage a range of complex financial transactions. More recently, the Certified International Risk Manager Program has strengthened my skills in identifying, assessing, and mitigating risk, a crucial aspect of my role in settlements. Both programs have not only equipped me with the knowledge and confidence to excel in my field, but have also enabled me to add significant value to my firm by optimizing processes, enhancing regulatory compliance, and managing risk more efficiently. This, in turn, contributes to the overall success and growth of our company. My advice to current students would be to fully embrace the opportunities that BIFIS provides. The knowledge you gain here will not only set you apart in the financial industry, but also open doors to new career paths. Stay committed to continuous learning and networking. Both will serve you well in this ever-evolving field. For a half-century, BIFIS has played an integral role in advancing the financial services sector in the Bahamas. By offering industry-specific education and training, the institution has contributed to the professional development of numerous individuals and improved the overall competency of our workforce, promoting a community of skilled professionals who turn the economic mill of our country. Congratulations to the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services on reaching this incredible milestone of 50 years. Your commitment to excellence has shaped the careers of many, including mine, and I look forward to seeing how the institution continues to impact the financial landscape in the future.
My name is Renee Coakley Tucker, and I am a retiree of the Central Bank of the Bahamas. My main area of expertise is records and information management, and I am a BIFS graduate of 2010. I decided to take the banking certificate course as a means of familiarizing myself with general banking operations with respect to the actual overall discipline of records and information management. So it provided me with a lot of background, core framework information that would allow me to execute my duty as a senior records officer in a more professional manner, in a manner that allowed for collaboration with the various teams that needed to be a part of the overall program for the bank in records and information management. My advice to persons who are new to the banking field would be to have an open mind and be prepared, even though it may not be within your scope, to learn. Learn from those around you that have the knowledge and experience, and also be innovative and seek out those things that you realize you need to strengthen yourself in. So through ongoing developmental courses that help you to gain the strength you need in that particular area. My experience as a lecturer at BIFS in the Records and Information Management Fundamentals discipline has been a very positive one. I enjoy interacting with those who decide to take the class, and it's always surprising. It goes both ways. I learn from them just as well as they learn what is being shared with respect to the importance of the discipline in their various industries.
So, my name is Derek Roll. I am the Deputy Governor at the Central Bank of the Bahamas.
I'm a graduate of this.
I'm a graduate of the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services. I have a special relationship with the Institute, as not only am I a graduate, but I am also a former lecturer of the Institute, where I lectured statistics there for several years. It was a great time of my life. It also allowed me to meet a number of great individuals, including some of whom work with the Central Bank today. Since graduating the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services, I had the incredible opportunity, particularly through my employer, the central bank to go off to university, got a bachelor's degree in finance and economics, followed by a master's degree in quantitative methods, which allowed me to really hone my skills in the quantitative space, particularly around economics and other quantitative methods, and really allowed me to find my niche in someplace like the Central Bank of the Bahamas, where I've now been employed for the past 36 years. My educational experience at BIFS was really the foundation of where I started to understand my love and really passion for finance, economics, and the quantitative methods in general. This also allowed me to really figure out what part of my educational and career growth would be steeped in that space, because what I found is that there is an incredible amount of diversity that exists in the central bank in terms of what one can study and what one's career path could look like. In addition to finding that basis at a place like BIFS, the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services and the Central Bank of Bahamas share that sort of ethos about education and growth and development, and not just development in terms of your career, but personal development as well, making sure that they pour into you not just education, but how one develops personally and finds one's real self. For the past 50 years, the Bahamas Institute of Financial Services has been the catalyst for where and how people in the finance space find their basis of education. In fact, if you were to look at just about any financial institution in the country, you are bound to find a graduate of the Institute. What that tells me then is that the Institute has been pervasive across the space in making sure that it provided fundamental knowledge, not just because it was something that was being driven by the financial institutions themselves, but something that the Institute realized was a gap in the financial services space that needed to be honed. And over the past 50 years, they've done an incredible job at making sure they achieved that.